On this day that Sri Aurobindo's relics had come down to Hyderabad Center. And relics coming down to Sri Aurobindo Center means the consciousness of Sri Aurobindo had arrived. And wherever Sri Aurobindo comes, Mother would always be present. If we had asked Sri Aurobindo or the Mother, that voice is not clear. If we had asked Sri Aurobindo and the Mother that on this occasion what should we do, and I think what we are going to do would become very apt. In Sri Aurobindo's yoga, psychic being has a very, very big important role. And one of the reasons why it's so important is that psychic being purifies us and takes us to a divine. The dangers of yoga are all avoided because of the presence of psychic being. So today we'll try and understand how to connect with the psychic being. Yesterday we saw many aspects of the psychic being, but today it will be completely based on how to connect with the psychic being. So it becomes very apt. I see few new faces. So I think I will just make a very short summary of 1.5 hours summary, maybe in 3-4 minutes. For spiritual life, psychic being has a very important role. And there was one quotation which was asked to the Mother, what does the divine want of us? The Mother says, divine wants us that we first contact our psychic being, our true being. Now, what is psychic being? To understand, we must know what is soul. Soul is a spark of the divine. It is a portion of the divine. And psychic being is formed around the whatever portion of a mind, vital and physical, comes in contact with the psychic being, that's get attached to the soul, and that is how it grows. And this growing doesn't happen in one life. Innumerable life it grows and slowly becomes individualized, slowly grows to the complete extent where it becomes a really conscious thing. In normal life of human beings, psychic being tries and nudges, gives it, but as soon as the message comes in the mind takes over, thinks it is his own and brings it out. So the true psychic influence in human beings never is one finds it. For that one requires a sadhana or a yoga to come to know what the true psychic influence is. Even the passage, where is the psychic being done? It is in the center of the chest, but far behind. And to contact it, the passage between the two also is obstructed. It is not there. Possibly because this is not our first life. We have lived many lives. So the passage is not very clear because we have never made an effort to go. So psychic being to contact becomes really difficult. So what is psychization? Where complete influence of the thing, psychic takes place. Then we become really pure. All lower vital is transformed into higher things, and that's the quality of psychic being. It transforms all lower things into a higher divine. The purpose of psychic being is to make us, develop us, our mind, vital and the physical, and turn it towards the divine. But we did see two methods to contact the psychic being yesterday. And the Mother says these two method are, it helps as a lever. Lever is something that it helps us to live a very heavy material by comparatively easy. So these two methods, one was the enthusiasm, second was an innate sense of gratitude. When we are fully involved in it with the enthusiasm, it can help us, it can go us out of our ego, push us into higher. But when the enthusiasm is there, to bring the psychic contact, it has to be in a calm and a peaceful manner, because one of the important quality of the psychic being is calm and peacefulness. The sense of gratitude that one has should always go to the divine. There is a difference between thankfulness and gratitude. Thankfulness, somebody gives you something, you are thankful for that. That is for a short period. While gratitude is much deeper and it lasts much longer. Mother goes to the extent of saying that those people who have a natural faculty of being gratitude are one people, for them the psychic contact is very common and invariably happens. So we have seen first two methods, that was these two. Now we come to the today's thing. Yesterday we saw that the psychic is something wonderful and great. We also saw that the psychic being is an essence of ananda, essence of pure bliss. It has an alchemic quality, alchemic transmutation, where it transforms lower to the higher. So one may wonder that such an immaculate, pure thing, which is so great, so elevated, so radiant, so beautiful, is it possible for a simple man like me to contact this psychic being, and that too in this life? One may have a doubt of that. Mother assures us that it is possible to contact the psychic being in our own lifetime. So now we will first see 4 different methods with 4 different quotations, which will tell us that we can contact the psychic being in this very life, not only in this life, but in few months, if certain conditions are fulfilled. Just to inform you that the color of the psychic being is pink, and that's why most of my slides you will find lot of pink color. Psychic is also in a form of a cover, so lot of combination of yellow color I have put. So we'll see the first method. Mother says that the physical consciousness is slow, heavy, and makes no effort to come in contact with the psychic being. The external consciousness will take centuries to come and contact with it. But for some reason or the other, the vital takes interest in it and takes a hand in it. It wants this contact with all its energy, all its strength, all its passion, all its fervor. And the mother says, the vital with all its energy, strength and passion can contact the psychic being in 3 months. Just don't worry if the light is there. You all can hear me in the last? Yes. So I will speak loud. So just all of you relax. Now, how can a vital, which we know which is one of the biggest problem in one's life, can contact the psychic being? We'll try and understand that. What is a strong vital? A strong vital is full of force, has ambition, it has courage, it has great energy, and has a force for creation. But Sri Aurobindo also cautions that such a vital, it's very difficult for such a vital to, surrender to the divine. Why? Because of the strength it has. So why should he surrender? But if such a vital surrenders and devotes himself completely to the divine, he says it becomes an admirable instrument for the divine work. Mother also points out that the psychic, that those people who have a strong vital or a strong personality have lot of strong difficulties. But a vital which is converted means, oh, it's not come. Oh, Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter. Okay, so vital, that is converted. Converted means it has focused itself on the divine, and is consecrated means completely offered itself, and by process of offering it has become pure, which is consecrated to the divine, will become a bold and a forceful instrument that can overcome all obstacles. Now, thinking of what example to give for this, I found the example of Valmiki is really correct. Valmiki was known as Ratnakar, a violent highway robber dominated by a crude Rajasic vital, which was fearless and aggressive. And Valmiki that time, or Ratnakar that time, had no spiritual aspiration. The turning point came when initially Narada came and asked him that for all the sins that have you accumulated, will your family share all your sins? So he goes to his wife and asks him, will you share my sins? The wife says, it is the duty of a husband to take care of the family. How can we share? That gave him a vital shock. And this shock, he decided to now decide only on one thing which he thought can do, was to speak. Sharda, just leave it. Sit down comfortably. Sit here. You don't have to. Okay. So he started doing only one thing. Repeat the name of Rama. That time Lord Rama had not come, but Rama was something like Om. So he said, let me, because that was the only possible thing for such a strong Rajasic vital. Can you believe he couldn't even pronounce the word Ram? He was started saying Mara, 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 Mara. And he did it with such an intensity and for a long period that he became Maharshi Valmiki, the seer poet of Ramayana. This is a beautiful example when a vital takes over the charge and it wants it under on any condition, it can really do all the Rajasic thing in the right direction. It can help us contact the divine. Okay, we go to the next quotation of the mother. A question was asked to the mother, sweet mother, is there a dynamic and rapid way to find one's psychic being and to raise the consciousness? The question is how to get the rapid touch. The mother says, the only way that can be rapid is to think only of that and to want only of that. So what mother is saying? Think only of achieving the psychic being. Think only of how to contact the psychic being. Of all the things you want, only the psychic being, and that would be the rapid free thing. And I found a clear example of this in the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans. Ramakrishna Paramhans was a temple priest. He had no formal education. He was not even trained in philosophy. But he had one thought, one object all his time. He wanted to see the Divine Mother, Kali. And that period, this was the only thought which ruled him. It made him literally crazy and mad, wanted it. Even he forgot how to do the worship as a priest would do it. He would do it in a funny way. Because all the thought was only for that. In the evening, when the bells rang in the temple, tears would flow out his eyes. Oh mother, another day has gone and I have still not had a sight of yours. People around him thought he was mad. They thought he was ill. Some felt he was possessed. But he was, and from outside if one sees his behavior, one would say there is an instability in him. but inwardly he was one-pointedness. In yoga you call this as a ekagrata, with one-pointedness. There was only this thought and nothing else. And this made him see. I'm not going to go into the incident of it, but this was the force which Mother says the only way rapid is. Now, why do we all take long period to realize if one wants to it? Because we want to see the divine, we want to meet, but we want other things in it. It is not only directed towards one thing. When the thought keeps on returning to a single object, depth accumulates invisibly and one really can attain it. If you want to know the philosophy of how thought works as per the one, I'll try and explain it very simple. Mother says thought is not something abstract. It is a real living being. And you will find these quotations mainly in volume 2 of the Mother and volume 3 of the Mother. He says the thought have forms and have an individual life. This thought goes out from you and then it attracts all other thoughts of the same thing and it comes back to you. You must have seen some people, they have a habit of thinking the same thoughts again and on. You have released the thought, it goes on coming back to you and it forms in it. Sri Aurobindo points out that thoughts have an effective power. And in one of his thoughts and glimpses he says, thought is an instrument for becoming. All thoughts suggest to me I can do. All thought that reveals in me I can become. That is the reason a single thought that we live with can help and it can make it really rapid. We go to the third quotation of Mother. Mother says, when there is a faith in one's possibility. We'll try and understand what this faith is. First of all, faith is not a mental belief. Faith resides in your soul. That's why you have that conviction. Now, what is impossibility? Means that even whatever the difficulties one may have, whatever the obstacles one may have, whatever imperfection or even the negations one has, but one feels it and one is convinced that I am born to realize my soul, and that conviction will help him to have that. If that is the kind of faith one has, together with faith, there is a will that never falters. So will that never falters means it is will not waver, not even hesitate. And the third thing in that combination would be the persevering effort. Persevering effort means you go on making the effort till the time you reach the end, and you are not satisfied till you reach. When this three combination takes place, there is a faith in one's possibility, a will that never falters, a persevering effort. Then Mother says, instead of spending years to realize what one has to realize, one can realize in few months. She further says, sometimes even in few days. And then she says, if there is sufficient intensity, in few hours. So that faith, that will and the persevering effort can do it rapidly in one's life. Now I will go to the fourth quotation. Mother says, if you find your psychic being, all the problems of your life would be over. Because psychic being will guide you in the right direction. You will know what is right, what is wrong instinctively. You don't have to think about it. But she then adds that usually becoming conscious of the divine takes a whole lifetime. For some people, even several lifetimes. Then she says, for those who have an ardent aspiration, not ordinary aspiration, an ardent aspiration, a completely dedicated aspiration. It is possible to become conscious of the divine in one psychic being within few months. I think there is a need for us to understand what this aspiration is. So now we go to the next topic, is aspiration. Yesterday we saw two methods to contact.
You could just switch this on, the current is back.
Okay.
You lost your face and then it came back just now.
It's good. And this is what happens in spiritual life also. You go ahead and something happens, there is work. So this is just normal. Persevering effort has to be done.
It's on.
Did anyone feel that you missed the slides? No, no? So that's good enough. Yeah, I was on this. Those who have an ardent aspiration, it is possible to becoming conscious of the divine in one psychic being in few months. Now there is a need to understand what is aspiration. Aspiration is a yearning or longing for contact with the divine force. A spiritual aspiration means having an intense need to unite with the divine. Yoga is not only an aspiration of the mind towards the divine, but chiefly a yearning of the heart. Aspiration can have words, you can put it, but chiefly it is part of the emotion. You must feel the need of it. Aspiration can be expressed in words, but not necessary that it has to be in the words. Aspiration can be a feeling within that remains even when the mind is not attending, when the mind is attending to the work. That feeling remains in. Moment the work is over, that feeling would come out. That is the true quality of the aspiration. Mother in another quotation says, it is the heart that have the wings, not the mind. So chiefly you will find that aspiration is something to deal with the heart. Now, aspiration flings you into a great adventure of the divine discovery. Real aspiration is full of courage. Now, what is this adventure? You are in a normal consciousness. With the aspiration, if you really change and go out of your limits, and then when you have a contact with the divine. One thing I can tell you, whenever with the aspiration or any of the method, you feel you are not your normal being, because you have the courage to stay in it. What you can do is call the mother, offer that situation to the mother, and you will, then you would be relaxed. Because generally people would like to come back to its original position. But this is an opportunity you have to remain. I'll tell you an incident. When I used to go to Sri Aurobindo ashram as a visitor, I knew a very senior sadhak, a very simple person. I can tell you his name, Nagin Doshi. When you talk to him, he would look like you. Such a simple person. And whenever there are simple person, what to do? Friends would like to pull his leg, make fun of him. Now, in the samadhi, there is nearby a cement parapet. He would sit like this on the parapet and meditate. So his friends told him, Nagin bhai, if adverse forces come into you, or this, what will you do? Now if there is a learned person, he would say, if I feel peace, I know it's divine. If there is a disturbance, I would know undivine. but he was a sadhak. He gave a very simple answer. Arey, I don't have to worry, I will offer to the mother, mother will take care of it. So, whenever you find yourself going beyond yourself, try and offer it, but do not come back to it, because real aspiration is something full of courage. A question was asked to the mother. Mother, do I have the capacity? Are there potentialities in me for this path? Mother says, this is not the question. The question is, do you have the aspiration for that or not? Potentialities and abilities do not come in the way in spiritual. Then she finds out. So mother says, the ideas of incapacity are absolutely absurd. What? And that is the, mother says, she says is the negation of the truth of progress. And what is the truth of progress? What cannot be done today will be done another day. If there is aspiration is there. There is one quotation of Sri Aurobindo which mother even quotes and sends to certain sadhaks. So I will just bring it out. For them, whenever they talk of, am I capable of doing it? And that is a simple, straight and sincere call. An aspiration from the heart is the one important thing and more essential and effective than capacities. So remember, it's not a question of capacity or whether you have the ability. In fact, the fitness comes in spiritual life with the aspiration. Aspiration is something that needs to be developed. One may be born, it needs to be developed, educated, like all other activities of the being. This is a painting of Usha Patel, ashram artist, on aspiration, where the mind, vital, physical, psychic, all is seeking and wanting the divine. How many of you watch sports on TV or play sports? Just raise your hands. And you would like some team to win, right? Mother is a great occultist and she has given a secret behind it. That which team wins? The team which has the maximum aspiration in them, they win. There are many occasions you must have seen in cricket where an ordinary team has defeated the very good skilled team because the aspiration. And what happens, a very skilled team generally will be relaxed. These are bachas, I can easily win. That aspiration wouldn't be. And everything works for them. They jump, they are able to take the catch because that aspiration really helps them. And this is the truth. Whatever you want to achieve can be achieved. I remember 1983 when India first time won the World Cup on one-day cricket team. I had seen interviews, but Shrikant's interview was something which touched me. He says India was nowhere in the picture. West Indies were far, far superior than us. Shrikant says something of the Kapil Dev rubbed on us, and that remained. He says the Kapil Dev must have had such a great aspiration that he must have given it to his colleagues also. And that thing. And what Kapil did, took a catch of Vivian Richards, literally running at the back and taking the catch, and that changed the whole team cadence. So remember, aspiration is one thing that can lead you to the divine. Aspiration, true feeling can lead you for anything you would like to have. So the two ones attitude we saw, this is the third important attitude, aspiration to contact the psychic being. Now let's go to another part. We'll go through the fourth one little later. The third is penetration into the luminous crypt of soul. Sri Aurobindo writes in Life Divine that penetration into the luminous crypt of the soul is a long passage, and then for that he gives different methods of it. But what I like most is the poetic line which he has written, penetration into the luminous crypt of the soul. Now what is a crypt? Crypt is a hidden underground arch or dome. Now for this penetration into the hidden crypt of the soul, Sri Aurobindo has given different methods. The first method he talks is detachment. Detachment from all outside thing. And when one is really detached from all life, one starts living within. The second method he says is a concentration in the heart. We will see this in a much greater details little later. Austerity, self-purification, a rejection of ego of desire, rejection of false needs and habits. Then he brings a very big but. But he says, the strongest and the most central way is to base all such methods or any other methods. So he's trying to, there is something on a base. You must have that base. And if you combine on that base other methods which we have just seen of detachment, concentration and all that, or any other method on a self-offering and surrender of ourselves and of our parts to the nature, to the divine being. So what Sri Aurobindo is trying to point out, that the surrender and self-offering is a must. Together with that, if you combine other methods, then it becomes the strongest and the most central way. Strongest and the most central way means the most fundamental, most significant, most crucial way. So now there is a need to understand what surrender and self-offering is. So the fourth criteria that we will be bringing, or the fourth attitude we must develop, is the attitude of surrender. What is surrender in yoga? Now, English word surrender is an imperfect translation of a Sanskrit word samarpan. So whenever Sri Aurobindo Mother talks of this, you must understand surrender as samarpan. Sam means complete, arpan means offering. So samarpan means complete offering. Surrender is actually giving oneself completely to the divine. Surrender is that you give the responsibility of your life to the divine completely. A total surrender is giving up not only of your actions, work and ambitions, but also of your feelings. You can see aspiration, importance was feeling. Even surrender has an importance of feeling. Mother says, surrender is the first and absolute condition for doing yoga. If one has not decided to surrender, one cannot even begin doing the yoga. It is that essential. I have been saying surrender to the divine, but I think we all know that in integral yoga, we surrender ourselves to the Divine Mother. So surrender to the Divine Mother is essential, for without it there is no fulfillment of the object of yoga. Now when I say Divine Mother, there are different words can be used. It means the same, and Sri Aurobindo at different times have used different words. If you say Shakti, Divine Shakti, it refers to the Mother. In Life Divine, certain portion he has written about the divine power, and that divine power is the Mother aspect of the divine. So surrender to the divine is essential, for without it there is no fulfillment or object of the yoga. One can ask, why is there a need to surrender to the Divine Shakti, the Divine Mother, or Divine Power? The answer is, if a spiritual transformation is to be done, and what is the spiritual transformation? We go beyond our limits, not in a normal, and going beyond that, not in our own dimension, 3 dimension. We go into entirely a different dimension. We must call in the Divine Shakti to effect that miraculous work, for she alone has the needed force. Now what is this force? This force is decisive, producing definite results. The results are conclusive. This divine force is all wise. The force has a full knowledge what is to be done, and this force is illimitable. It is beyond limits, and that's why she can really translate us and take us into that. We look now at another quotation of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo compares the efficiency of surrender with other methods. He says, even the most powerful Rajyogic self-control, the most developed pranayam, the most strenuous meditation, the most aesthetic, he's trying to use the word most. So when you do pranayam, you do it really perfectly well. When you do meditation, you go really deep. The most self-denying action. Now he's calling them mighty as they are, and they are efficacious. He's not saying they are useless. They are really wonderful, but are comparatively weak in their results when compared to surrender. Why are they weak? All the methods where we have said, they to a certain extent limited by our capacity. The way we are able to go meditation, the way we are able to do it. But the path of surrender is illimitable in potency, because it is God's capacity. And God's capacity is immense, so it can do anything. Now when you surrender, when you offer yourself to the divine, what happens? There is a space created, and the divine can come in and work in us and do it. And that's why this capacity is illimitable. Now I am going to ask you all a question, and I want an answer from you. Can the God's capacity at any point be limited, or it will be great? Anybody? Okay, those who feel the God capacity is unlimited and it will always be there, raise your hands. This question was a googly. God's capacity can also be limited depending on what the person needs. If he gives illimitable, we may not even exist. So it is limited to what is required for us. But how do we practice this surrender? Offer all your movements to the Divine Mother. Not only mental action, but every thought and feeling. even the most ordinary and external actions. When you eat, you must feel that it is the divine eating with you. Now in this, I'll just take a moment. For this, Mother has really expressed great. He says, when you eat, you offer it to the divine. And one of the reasons why we need to offer this, all the food contains unconsciousness in it. And with the food, even vegetarian food also, need not be non-veg, all has unconsciousness. And we absorb lot of unconsciousness. And with this unconsciousness, the work of transforming becomes little more harder. So when you offer it to the divine, and she has shown one method at one place, silently remain before eating, ask the divine to pour some part of it in the divine. So you are connecting the food with the divine. And while eating, if you offer it to the Mother, you will find the unconsciousness goes away. And through this offering, it will be a great support on this. Mother has described it much detail, not detail, but has mentioned it even in the psychic education, which I have not taken. When you start offering at everything, all your movements, your entire life is taken up and offered to the divine. Now someone wrote to the Mother, Mother, I wish I had so much of capacities which I could have offered to you. Mother, I wish I could have so much of wealth which I can offer it to you. And that's why I am very unhappy. Mother says you don't have to be unhappy. Whatever you have, that you offer. Whatever ability you have. For spiritual, that will be a perfect offering. What you have. And you don't think that you should have that and then only the offering is perfect. Once, a very senior sadhak, Udar Pinto, asked the Mother, Mother, I have been doing the yoga for many years, but I am not absolutely certain how to do the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. I have read, this is a painting of Usha Patel on surrender, where all the parts of everything is surrendered. He says, Udar Pinto says, I have read Sri Aurobindo, all his books, but I still don't know whether I am doing correctly or not. And I think this is a dilemma which most of us go through. We are reading so many, we are trying to know, but we don't know whether we are really doing in the right direction or not. He says, I am not certain how far he had progressed. And he asked the Mother to help him. The Mother said, you are doing it all wrong. Then Udar Pinto asked, Mother, what should I do? The Mother said, I will do the yoga for you. So Udar Pinto was thrilled. Oh, then Mother, what have I to do? And this answer is the crux of the whole thing. He says, give yourself over to me and I will really do it for you. This is the real secret. Give yourself, offer yourself, whatever you are, and you have made the space for her. She can come in you and do the work inside you. Then Udar Pinto says, Mother, how can I surrender to you? So Mother, instead of answering, questions him. What is the first thing that you do when you get up? He says, I brush my teeth. Mother says, how do you brush your teeth? He says, how? Like everyone does. Then she says, you are doing it unconsciously. Remember me when you are brushing your teeth. Remember and offer it to me. When you wash your face, remember me and I'll be washing with you. And in this says, when you eat your food, offer it to me and I'll be enjoying the food with you. So this is the real method of surrender. But still, a doubt may come in our minds that when I offer it, I do it quietly. I hardly speak mentally. Will it reach the Mother? I can give you 2 examples to prove that even you do it quietly, internally, mother really receives this. Now we have heard of Kaikashru Sethna, Amal Kiran, a great sadhak, a great poet, and a great writer. I'll talk about his flower painting. Early morning when the flowers were fresh, he would sit and paint the flowers. And there were certain periods he would feel, oh, he has done with a great skill. Now mother every week used to open his book and go through his painting. Now wherever he felt he had done with great skill, mother would not say anything. And there were other parts where she would say something beautiful about and appreciate. That time K.D. Sethna or Amal Kiran remembered. It was those portions he had done with complete offering and remembering it to the mother. Just by seeing the painting, mother could recognize it. Second occasion, I'll tell you. When you go to Pondicherry, you might have visited Sri Smriti, where all the mother objects which Sri Aurobindo has used are kept there. In the third room, where Sri Aurobindo's things are displayed, there is a cupboard. And in that cupboard, there are simple 2 ribbons kept with little stitching on that. It is said that when mother saw those ribbons, she appreciated, and she said every stitch was completely offered to her just by seeing. And I think mother must have appreciated it so much that they have kept it. Earlier when I gone as a visitor, there was a note kept about this, that this was offered. Now they have removed it. If you want to go, ask the people there, I want to see that lace. It's very simple, nothing great or something, but mother could recognize. You can see out of all the 4 attitudes which needs to be developed, I have given maximum emphasis in my talk on surrender, because this is the most important aspect one has to practice when you want to come in contact with the psychic being. So whenever possible, try and do surrender, remember her, offer yourself. Together with any other one you want, you can do it. Now we come to one method. Now we go to the direct methods. Concentrate in the heart to find the psychic being. Mother says, concentrate in the heart. Enter into it. Go within, deep and far. Now gather all the strings of your consciousness that are spread out. You know, we think I have to do this, I have to do that, and our consciousness generally is spread out. So gather all the strings of your consciousness that are spread out and roll them up and take a plunge inside and sink down into the center of the chest, the psychic center. Now when mother says concentrate in the heart, she clarifies she does not mean concentrate with the mind. She says concentrate with the consciousness, concentrate with the will, consecrate the energy. Now, why should we concentrate in the heart? There are few reasons she gives. Behind the heart center is the presence of the psychic being. So naturally we'll concentrate. But it's not only that. There are other things present in the heart center. In the heart center, we will find the will to progress. We will find the force of purification and the most intensive and effective aspiration. That is the reason. Now, what is the posture when we start doing it? Sri Aurobindo brings out, sitting in a motionless posture is a natural position for concentrated. So you did not sit in an asana, you can relax yourself. take back, rest your back so that you remain not uncomfortable but absolutely comfortable and motionless, and then start the concentration. As we have to go within, we can begin our concentration through interiorization of ourselves. Feel that you are going in. Gradually and progressively quiet the mind, because it is only in the quiet mind that you will be able to enter inside. And if you find difficulty in going inside, if you have never gone inside, try and concentrate and aspire for opening of the heart center. Once the heart center is opened, aspire for Mother's presence in the heart. Whenever one tries to concentrate, if one is sit for the initial times, you will find all sorts of thoughts come to you. So the method is, all insignificant thoughts usually wear themselves out if one goes on rejecting them. So one method is just reject these thoughts. To detach oneself from these insignificant thoughts and concentrate without further attention to these unimportant thoughts. So just don't give importance. Let the thoughts come. You try and concentrate. You will find after some time they will go away. Mother describes this concentration beautifully, so I'll just bring that quotation. Draw back from the surface. We are in the surface. Draw back in the surface. Withdraw deep within. And these are literally her words. And enter, enter, enter. Go down, down, down into a deep hole. And there one will find something warm, quiet, rich in substance, and very still, very full, like a sweetness that is the soul. So the quality of soul here is quiet, very rich in substance, very still, fullness one would feel, and a sweetness. Now you have started going in. There are two things that needs to be combined when you go in. Mother says, after going deeply widen yourself. Widen is just sit down. Imagine that you are slowly, your consciousness is getting wide. If you can't do it for the full body, start with your mind and face, and you go within. You expand yourself so much you feel as if there is no head. Your head is very much there, don't worry. But you just try and feel it is expanded. Then expand this position and the whole body. So going in and widening. These are two progressive. Now this widening has to be done progressively and systematically to become vast. These are the first two preparatory movements. There is a third movement which we will come and see. The concentration in the heart is best aided by the power and light descending from above the head. So what can we do is, first try and concentrate above the head. Maybe go a little later and widen yourself. Sri Aurobindo says, above the head is the divine's consciousness, is the divine mother's consciousness, which contains peace, power, light, ananda, and many other things. After you have felt the concentration, slowly let the power descend into your top of the head. Let it slowly bring down into your whole face, into this. This has to be done very slowly. Again go up. Bring down into your chest, bring down into your hands, into your fingers, let it go down up till the lower leg. This thing will aid, so you can start with this, then concentrate going in, and then widen it, and then try and concentrate, go deep within. This is what Mother and Sri Aurobindo's combination, I've been saying. And what happens is the mind and vital are made ready for the descent for above and the working of the force. To be able to go into the depth of the being, the outer nature has to become quiet and purified. So what happens with the descent? Our mind and vital are changing because the higher consciousness is coming and working on it. So mind and vital becomes quiet and purified, and its substance is transformed, by which many obstacles will drop away or disappear. Then it becomes possible to pass to the depths of our being, to reach the new consciousness, and the new consciousness is psychic consciousness. The more one concentrates, the more the force of the yoga grows. When you concentrate without straining. Straining means there is a little uneasiness. Actually, it means over-eagerness, violence of effort. So do it slowly and try and do it. The length of concentration initially is not at all important. Important is that there should be a concentration of the will. If those who had come yesterday would remember that in the psychic in ordinary life, I had pointed out the passage is obstructed. The passage is not very clear. Now here the mother gives a solution to that. Mother says, when the inner life is not developed, there are gaps between the external and the inner consciousness. The linking states are missing and have to be constructed. Now what is this linking states? Now when you concentrate and go within, you are able to go within, then after some time slowly come out, again go, so that linking states are there. Then slowly when you are inside, open your eyes for 2-3 seconds, again close it, and then you will find you still have. By very fact of opening the eyes, you will feel a linking state is established from the outside to the inner. And in the inner also, when you go slowly, and there'll be, sometimes when you meditate, you'll find you suddenly jump to another consciousness. So when you go slowly and come out slowly, the linking states are built up. And that is how you'll be able to go within and do it. If possible, if you don't succeed immediately, it may be because of the outer ignorance is very stubborn. And generally, in all human beings, outer nature is stubborn. It will take time. So accept it and do it regularly. And will yield only to the persistent effort. Possible, if it's possible, keep a fixed time for meditation and stick to it. They say it helps really very much. And even coming out of concentration, remain silent and collected. Because whatever you have gained, if you suddenly get up and start doing work with your fast movements, everything is spilled out. Let it remain in. And in the work, slowly do it initially and let that inner concentration remain with you. There was a question asked to the mother. I want the psychic consciousness with all my heart, and I will pay any price for it. Mother says, the only price to be paid is persistent and unwavering will. And if you have an unwavering will, you will daily sit for concentration. You will daily make an effort, regardless whether you succeed or not. Now, how to know if the concentration, maybe after a year or so, is succeeded? If the concentration brings a little feeling that enables you to judge all movements clearly, you know, why am I doing this? Because this is the habit of me, I shouldn't do it, and all that. And see their true nature, then the psychic being is already in action. In the end, a condition develops in which the inner consciousness is always concentrated and in state of poise. Outer events only occur on the outermost condition. Now, after having contacted the psychic being, to bring it in a life, Sri Aurobindo has used 4 different statements on it. One is awakening the psychic being, bringing the psychic being to the front, opening to the psychic being, or realize the psychic being. And these have to be, we will try and see. And luckily or incidentally, all the quotations are, separate. If it's for awakening, it is only awakening. If it's so, in fact, in my compilation, I've been able to make 4 sections, leaving out 6 or 7 quotations where he talks of opening and coming in front, like that combination. So we will see now each of this. Awakening of the psychic being. The meaning of awakening of the psychic being means there is a conscious action of the psychic being from behind. Mother explains it beautifully. When the psychic being is no longer covered with the mind and vital, it is said to be awake, because it is the mind and vital covers it. Awakening of the psychic consciousness is actually a glimpse of the divine. Now, how to awaken we'll see. By sincerity of your aspiration and your surrender, you can awaken the psychic being. Now we have seen what aspiration, surrender, so I don't have to go inside that. Through intense emotion, psychic being can be awakened. But what this, I was told of a lady who had diagnosed cancer, and she was sitting in the hospital. The atmosphere was dirty because all sick people and gloomy atmosphere. So she prayed to the mother with absolute intensity. And there in that atmosphere, not in a meditation room, there she suddenly felt a peaceful thing in her. So when there is a, intense emotion, you really are able to contact the psychic being, even for a moment, and she felt peaceful. But this intense emotion is there also in deep bhakti. So if there is a bhakti or an intense emotion, the psychic being awakens. Now we go to the next method, the psychic coming to the front. What does it mean? The psychic emerges from behind the veil. We know it is far behind. So it comes out from the veil and it comes out. So coming to the front. The psychic presence is felt clearly in the waking consciousness. That is the meaning of psychic. And once it comes out, psychic influence fills and transforms the mind, vital and physical. Once feel that time that psychic being is one's true being, and the mind, vital and other things are just the instruments of the psychic. The other meaning is also there. To keep the psychic in the forefront of active consciousness is psychic coming to the front. Another meaning, to psychicize the whole consciousness, to fill the whole consciousness with psychic nature, that is psychic coming to the front. One aim of yoga is to bring the psychic to the front. Now let us see how to bring the psychic being to the front. And there are 9 different methods which I'll just try to bring it out to you. Aspiration, constant, and sincere, and the will turned towards the divine are the best means to bring forward. Now, when all the will, everything that happens to you, you turn towards the divine, and that will help the psychic being to come to the front. Second quotation: when the peace is established in the heart, it is possible for the psychic being to come forward. And once it comes forward, it rules the mind, life, and body. Third method: through constant self-offering. And this self-offering itself will teach, but in the same quotation Sri Aurobindo says, aspire intensely but without impatience. Bringing the psychic in front depends mainly on the extent which one can develop a personal relationship with the divine, a relation of bhakti, love and self-giving, and rejection of all the insistence of mental, vital and physical ego. Now, how to build this? Mother, is always present, and she has said, the way to develop the relationship is talk to her. Whatever happens in your life, you talk to her daily. When you are going out, in the photo you say, Mother, I am going here, I offer this to you. So how to build that? There are few things that we can do is, offer her all your work. Thank for all the opportunities she has given you. Thank her for the success you have had. Offer all your failures. Inform her about your problems, remembering her all occasions. And lastly, and the most importantly, love the mother intensely. And that can bring the psychic being forward. Now the next quotation which Sri Aurobindo talks of is just the opposite of this. And I think this is the simplest of all the methods, which everybody can do it. One can never say, I can't concentrate in the heart and all that. This method can help you out. Sri Aurobindo says, becoming aware of the mother's love is necessary for the psychic to come in front. The mother love is always there. And whatever, whether you're worthy or not, their mother loves you. And how to become aware of mother loves, that also Sri Aurobindo suggests in another quotation. Base your life on the thought that the mother loves me and I am the mother's. I belong to the mother. I am mother's child. These two methods, I feel, are the most easiest. And if you try and develop continuously, it can really bring your psychic being to the front. We go to the sixth method. Only when the mind and vital have been changed to some extent, the psychic is ready to come forward. Now this quotation of need for change of mind and vital is in the letters of yoga. But it is in synthesis of yoga that Sri Aurobindo is explained how that change takes place. When the mind is sufficiently quieted and no longer supports its mental certitudes. The problem with the mind is it takes up one idea or one sentence and we feel this is the only truth. So when the mind is quieted and does not assert itself that this is the only truth, when the vital has been subdued, subdued means vital wants desires, it wants this, it wants that, it is subdued and is no longer insistent on its will, demand and desire. And thirdly, when the physical has been sufficiently altered, not to bury altogether in the inner flame under the mass of outwardness, obscurity and inertia. Now these are the three qualities of the physical being: outwardness, obscurity and tamas, inertia. When these are condemned, then the inmost psychic being can come forward. Now here is another method, the dynamic descent from above, into the heart creates a better condition for the psychic being come forward. Earlier when I told you was that the descent of higher consciousness from the heart, you literally go down and prepare the whole body. But your suggestion is, when the descent takes place, let it come and directly go into your heart. And that higher force, when it goes inside, it can work and help you bring out the psychic being. One condition also is, get rid of selfishness and demand. Now, the next quotation I feel is Sri Aurobindo's compassion. He's saying, nothing done in the past or present can prevent the psychic being from coming forward if there is a true will to get rid of these things and live in the psychic consciousness. Now, prevent the psychic being coming forward, a thing done in the past, something which we shouldn't have done. And it is human to do wrong things. If you have done something wrong, don't feel guilty about it. Try and avoid doing it. And when there is a sincerity in your will not to repeat that, and do it even in this present life what we have done, even then the psychic being can come forward. The divine is really understanding. He understands all our limitation, but it is wanting us to take the first step so it can happen. Now, once the psychic being comes forward, you know what happens? It can withdraw again. But the second time, the contact is much easily obtained because we have cleared the passage from inside and we are able to contact. So the second time when you make an effort, the moment then comes a moment, first is if you aspire and make an effort, you'll be comparatively easy. I'm saying comparatively, is easier to again contact the psychic being. Then comes a moment when as soon as one constant and aspires, one gets a contact. But I think a question should be asked by you. Why does the psychic being again hide itself when once it has come to the front? In reality, it's not the psychic that hides itself. It is the being, our human being, that returns to its ordinary consciousness. We are not used to remaining on a high elevated position, so we come down to it. That's the reason it happens. Once the psychic being has come to the front, it is never relegated back to its original position or behind the veil altogether. So once it has come to the front, it is easy to do because it never goes deep down and hides itself, which was the original position. Now, what prevents the psychic being remaining always in the front? That also need to understand. The crudity of the unregenerated vital. Now, what this unregenerated vital does is, it will tell psychic being, if it was given a chance, you fulfill all my desires and then I will accept you. But it never happens like that. This is a problem with the mind also. The unillumined mind will say, you accept your truth, you come and stand beside me, accept all my convictions are correct, and then I will accept you. But that doesn't happen. And that's why, because this refuses to recognize the truth. To take pleasure in dirt and disorder is a sure sign of nature that rejects its psychic being and wants nothing to do with it. Now we go to the third part, opening of the psychic being. What does opening of the psychic being mean? And I'm just quoting the quotations. Sri Aurobindo Mother has given all explanations in there. But the only thing, it is spread out in many, many volumes. And that's the reason compilation becomes really essential. What is the meaning of psychic opening? A psychic opening means removing of the veil which was stopping us to go meet the psychic, and increasingly direct action of the psychic. Now in the next quotation it says, opening of the psychic means the psychic coming to the front. So opening of the psychic and psychic coming to the front are nearly the same. But the methods which Sri Aurobindo and the mother have given for each are different. So I am giving you the different in it. Now again we'll see 9 different methods. How does the psychic open? Quietude of the inner mind and quietude of the heart creates the psychic opening. It is by regular concentration, constant aspiration, and a will to purify the mind and heart that the psychic will open. Next method. Purity, simple sincerity, and unegoistic self-offering to the divine are the conditions for entirely opening of the psychic being. We had seen part of this one. If the desire is rejected, and there is I'm sorry, mistaken. If the desire is rejected, then a steady aspiration of self-giving, the psychic being usually, we have desires and we want to always go it. When you know that desire is not correct, you try and reject those desires. It creates a situation together with the aspirational self-giving for the psychic being to come forward. When the emotions are pressed inward and not thrown outside, it opens fully the psychic doors. Aspire constantly, Sri Aurobindo says. Allow the peace to grow and the force to work in you, then the psychic being will open. Another method is detachment. I have been saying, and how to detach yourself? You can start thinking that all the activities that are happening is due to Prakriti. It's not coming out through you. So try and identify yourself inner and accept that they don't really belong to me. And through that detachment, also one can touch the inner being. And when the inner being goes in, one will be able to contact the psychic being. So by standing back detached, one can open the mind, life and body to the inmost psychic entity. This method of detachment can be combined with the concentration in the heart, which we have seen in great details, and they can be fused into one. Now, devotion and complete inner consecration are the best means of opening the psychic being. Now, what does this consecration means? If you see the dictionary, consecration is something making sacred, making holy, making it pavitra. That is consecration. Now, what does it mean here by consecration? In Sri Aurobindo's yoga, consecration means offering and making sacred to the mother. When you offer something to the divine and divine takes it up, that becomes sacred. I will give you a very personal example for this consecration. Incidentally, it happened to be the saddest day of my life. I was in Secunderabad and I had called my wife to stay with me. I had asked my mother to look after my son who was young that day in Pondicherry. I received a call that my mother is taken to the hospital. So I rushed. Flights were not available, so we took a taxi to Vijayawada. From Vijayawada we went in train, and then from Chennai, and I went there. My mother was no more. She had left. Next day we did the last rites, and in the night my wife had cooked some cutlet, and moment I ate it, I remember that whenever I eat, I must offer it. I was in absolute, not depression, but in a sad state. And suddenly I remembered the divine and started offering. My wife later told me that this cutlet was prepared by my mother. And I remember that time I used to study synthesis of yoga. I had told her that whatever you do, you offer it to the divine. And she was doing it, that practice I knew. She must have completely offered it to the divine. So this cutlet, while preparing it, it was kept in the fridge, literally became sacred. And the moment I touched it, I remembered the divine. So you can see that when you offer something and it becomes sacred, not only that you become better, but even the material can become sacred. And I'm thankful to my physical mother for giving me this great lesson that even the material becomes consecrated and becomes sacred. Now we go to the next method. The direct opening of the psychic center is easy only when the egocentricity is greatly diminished and there is a strong bhakti for the mother. And we come to the last method in this. Psychic weeping. I'm not talking of emotional weeping, I'm talking of psychic weeping. Is a weeping from soul deep within. These tears of souls are yearning for sorrow of the resistance of the nature, and psychic weeping can help and open the inner soul from its veil. You know, when you are making an effort to come in contact with your psychic being, you are making all effort and you don't do it, and you realize it's because some part of your nature you are not able to change. A psychic weeping can come. And this psychic weeping doesn't bring suffering. This psychic weeping is a kind of a yearning towards the divine. But if it's a vital weeping, it comes from the vital and is born of hurt, abhiman, disappointment. The vital weeping can disturb the nature, but psychic weeping never does it. Now we come to the realization, the last part of it. Okay, this is just an information. The opening of the psychic consciousness in vision is indicated by lotus opening. Now, what is realization? Experience and realization. There is a difference between these two words. Things are called experience when they occur in flashes, snatches, or rare visitation. Now, when you are trying to allow the higher consciousness to descend, you will feel it's descending. That is an experience. When you are trying to go within and you are able to enter within, that is an first experience. Or when you even touch the psychic being for a second, that's an experience. But when does it become a realization? They are referred to as full realization when they become very positive, frequent, and continuous or normal. Now, when these experiences settle down in you, it becomes a part of you, then it is the realization. As we saw in psychic coming to the front, it does go back, or at least we see that it is no more there. So all experiences slowly settle down and become. So when the psychic contact is there and you are completely with it, then is the psychic realization. Or even when the higher consciousness, moment you sit with the habit, it starts descending. This descent has become a realization of yourself. Now in that compilation, if you have, in the chapter 18th, if you see, he says when you realize the psychic being, and we know that psychic being comes on earth to gain experience, you will at once come to know what experience you have to go through in this life. And you can go through absolutely smoothly through that experience and make your psychic being grow. And Mother there points out in that quotation that not only this life, what other lives also you want to have the experience which you are going to take birth. So you can go through all those experiences and your psychic being become most individualized. So by realizing a psychic being, you can do the work of many, many lives. We go to the last portion. The psychic being will materialize. Once it happened, Mother saw a lady whose psychic being was bigger than her body. It was bigger by 20 centimeters more. The psychic being was bigger and the body was small. And she observed that this psychic being had a form which was neither male nor female. It had the combination of both. And that time Mother intuitively felt, and these were the wordings she has narrated. It is the psychic being. It is that which will materialize itself and become the supramental being. If it is the psychic being that will ultimately go into the method of becoming supramental being, the divine logic is absolutely complete and is perfect. When a person dies, it is the soul that leaves the body, and on its passage the vital and mental is dissolved, and then it reaches the place of the earth and it comes back. So it's perfectly okay. So, and it goes through experience, and every life we have different experience. So logic of the divine logic is perfect. If the psychic being will materialize and become the next step of evolution, that means there is an abolition of death. And Mother brings out, whatever doesn't change, whatever doesn't turn to a divine, it's bound to be finished. It will have its death. Even in our life, if our mind psychicizes itself or done, it attaches with that, and that portion of the mind remains with the psychic being, and then it goes. That's why Mother then says, it is indispensable that each one find his psychic being and unite it with definitely. It is through the psychic that supramental will manifest itself. Mother says, if one wants to have a vision or just see, not realize, only have a slight vision of supramental, it is through the psychic one can have it. One cannot have it through the higher mind or over mind areas. So vision is through the psychic. Mother then says, it is much easier to pass from psychic consciousness into the supramental consciousness than to pass from the highest intellectual speculation to any supramental vibration. Once somebody must have written to Sri Aurobindo, and his reply is there in the letters. Sri Aurobindo says, you were quite right in what you wrote about the supermind. People here do indeed use the big word much too freely. People would say this is supermind and all that, and it goes on. as if it was something within the reach of everybody's grasp. Sri Aurobindo writes, the first thing to be done is the psychic change. And until that has progressed sufficiently, the supermind is a far, far off thing. And people need not think of it at all. You know, yesterday also I read out one letter. He says thinking of overmind and all that is useless. First concentrate on your psychic being. Lastly, there is a quotation from Agenda. Ego was necessary to shape humanity. But we are now preparing for the way of superhumanity. The job of the ego is over, and it has done its job very well. Now it must disappear. It is the psychic being that will stay in and pass to the next species. So we must learn to gather all our being around the psychic, and those who wish to pass to supra-humanity must get rid of the ego and concentrate themselves around the psychic being. Now this is an artist painting which shows the size of the psychic being is bigger than the physical, and the fire represents the psychic in that. I have come to the end of my talk, but I would like to end with a little long prayer. O Sri Aurobindo, O Mother, we offer our infinite gratitude for leaving behind such a profound and luminous wealth of knowledge to guide us in our sadhana. Your writings has given us the faith that we can fulfill the aim of our life to come in contact with the psychic being in this very birth. We pray, may our aspiration grow ever more intense. May our effort to remember the Divine Mother and offer all our work be complete. May our capacity of enthusiasm deepen and bring the intensity to our sadhana. May a sense of gratitude remain ever present for all you have done for the growth. May our concentration in the heart take us far within, that we may find a psychic being and meet the Divine Mother there. May our psychic being awaken, open, and come to the front so that our mind, vital and physical, may be transformed. Ultimately, our aim is to realize the psychic being and be led by it on the path of spiritual life. Thank you. Amen.